Hi everyone, it's Roger and Abe here with episode number 46 of the Disney Infinity and Beyond webcast presented by DisKingdom.com. It is going to be a big week this week. We have got loads of Star Wars Rebels news, and we've got E3 coming this week, so we've got loads and loads of bits and pieces to go through. So we'll be discussing all of that on this week's show. So big hello to Abe there in sunny California.
How's it going, Roger, in nighttime? Okay.
Yeah. And also, are you getting yourself all nice to get some sleep tonight before all the big thing kicks off tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm probably going to sleep in tomorrow just so I have a lot of sleep in. I'm whatever.
Well, Abe's going to be at E3 this week, reporting back for Disney Kingdom. He's going to be giving us loads of information and stuff, all about all the Disney stuff there that's at the event, including Disney Infinity 3.0. And he's also going to be looking at Star Wars and probably, hopefully, Lego Avengers and a whole load of other bits and pieces. So we're going to get into that a little bit later on, but let's kick off with probably the big news of the week, really. It was Star Wars Rebels. So, Abe, what did you think of the Star Wars Rebels announcement?
Well, we were expecting it, but once it actually did happen, oh, man. I went from, okay, cool, to like, wow. I don't know why, but these figures look like they're way better as far as cosmetic and paint job goes and pose. I love Zeb. I love him a lot, but dude, that figure of Sabine, I'm so in love with it. Apparently she's the most complicated figure ever made because of the paint profile and the pieces. I mean, if you scroll down a little bit more, I mean, that helmet right there just, it just speaks leaps and bounds to me. But no, it was great. I'm excited to see Star Wars Rebels. It did seem like we were missing a crucial person, a crucial member of the team. But I have a feeling, based off of the Twitch cast, that there might be more coming. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
So this is the thing, because it broke on one of the I think it was a European retailer that these 4 characters were available as single characters. This was late last week or beginning of this, and this announcement came out of pretty much came out of the blue. I wasn't expecting this announcement at all last week, especially with E3 coming up. So all of these characters are going to be available singly. They're all going to be available. They can all be used within the toy box. But more importantly, they can all go into all 3 of the other Star Wars playsets: Twilight of the Republic, Rise of the Empire, and the soon-to-be-announced Force Awakens playset. So I was a bit shocked that they kind of came out of the blue just with these. But I'm wondering if I'm wondering if they're doing something a little bit different with this. That's my sort of gut reaction. Is something is, like you said, they are they're saying that there's more characters to come. There's obviously one major member of the team missing from the lineup.
Yeah.
You've also got the Inquisitor, which is the main sort of villain guy.
Right.
Now, and we all assume that we all sort of predicted that this was going to be a playset for next year for 4.0, because they were going so heavily on Star Wars this year. So I'm still going with this feeling that there could be a Rebels playset announced later down the line in 3.0. The fact they're holding back a couple of figures, the fact they said that there is more to come, and these are based on Season 2's designs, and Season 2 hasn't started yet. So have they just kind of gone, right, we have to, they've got enough announced to begin with? I don't know. I would not be surprised if we saw a Rebels playset announced at some point. You?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is probably one of those test phases where, like, okay, let's tell everybody we got playsets coming. Now let's announce these figures, but not tell them that a playset's coming and see how it turns out. I mean, I think it's another a test as far as announcements go, because obviously this year's announcements have been night and day compared to last year's, the way they're doing it at least. But I don't know. I also don't want to jump the gun and say yes, it's definitely happening. But from the lingo and man, JV must have repeated, the first Rebels figures to be announced. I mean, like, yes. I mean, for me to take all of those things that he said, not to mention to be missing Hera, which is like, I mean, I think somebody from the chat, from Facebook, sorry, I don't remember who said. They said she's the Han Solo of the group. So it's like, how can you have no Han Solo? So as far as the group goes, but anyways, I don't know. Another thing that JB did say in one of his quotes was he did say that obviously if you are fans of Hera, the Inquisitor, and he said Chopper, stay
Yeah.
tuned. If they in fact, let's say if they include Chopper, it opens up the big window of possibilities of seeing an R2, a C3PO, and obviously a BB-8 for the Force Awakens. But anyways, whatever. I'm getting so much into speculation, but other than that, Rebels, I'm glad they're coming. I'm loving the figures, and I hope there's more.
Yeah, I mean, on the subject of the droids, I think they'll come. Maybe they might not necessarily be this year, but they will be eventually coming. They're not going to leave money on the table.
Yeah.
But for me, I thought the announcement was it's this kind of thing of this year because they can go into the other play sets. It changes the thing with the Star Wars figures because they're not just toy box only characters. They have play sets to go into, free play sets. We've never had that before. So they're more than just a toy box character. Now, like I said before, they haven't, the Rebels 2 hasn't kicked off yet. I don't know if they don't, it just seemed a really odd announcement. It was not like the normal announcements. The fact that they're talking about these future characters, to release 5 or 6, 7 characters from a franchise with no playset doesn't make any sense.
No,
So
I agree.
I am still kind of on that kind of thing of thinking, looking between the lines, it's like, well, if you're saying these characters are coming later, and even if they didn't do Chopper, there's 2 characters perfect for a playset pack. It just don't know. It just, to me, it was an odd announcement, but one that I'm really excited about. I thought Rebels was coming into Disney Infinity 3.0, so I've been watching through all the episodes. Just got about one more. Ooh, what have we got going on over there?
Sorry, my cat. She's being nosy.
we got a special guest here coming in.
Get out of here, little one. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I can hear some weird thing going on about the Force are trying to get in on something. But yeah, no, I think they look really cool. I'm really kind of interested in Rebels. I've literally just got the last episode, I think, from season 1 to watch now. But no, I think this is a great announcement. It's definitely the here and now. These are the here and now characters of who are the kids today are watching on Disney XD and excited about, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Rebels is such a huge force right now. I mean, I experienced it from Star Wars Celebrations. Tons of people are in love with Rebels, so I'm glad that they're coming in 3.0. So
okay, let's just have a quick look here at those figures. I'll bring up the screen there. So we have got Ezra. I got Aladdin with the lightsaber.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what JV called, and I can see it. There's a kind of thing. I think one of the thing with Rebels is they do look so close to the actual cartoon series, and I think that's what's made it a lot easier for them to bring them over, and why they look so good is because these are cartoons rather than real people translated into like Han Solo, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still trying to get used to these names. So is that Kanan, Kana?
No, that's Kanan.
Kanan. Right letters, wrong order. And there we've got Zeb. Now he's apparently so big they had to kind of really kind of work out his box. So I'm thinking he's kind of going to be the Hulk, big sort of Bimax kind of character for this set.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure he didn't plop over because it's not just the size; it's also his feet and his posture. You want to make sure he stands up. So,
but also he apparently has a web crawling ability, but they're not within the play sets. That was something that got brought up, and that kind of ties into this thing of, I think they designed the play sets for the characters they had, and then I think they basically just got told at the end, oh, by the way, we're bringing them all into everybody's, and it's like, well, they haven't got any wall crawling in the play set, so they had basically the easiest option was just to take it out.
Well, I think that's a cool new feature, though. The fact that now you have play set figures that also have exclusive moves in the toy box only, so that's kind of cool.
Because I know the Inside Out characters have that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And Sabine, as you say, she's got the blue hair, which is from season 2. And then you've got that awesome looking sort of, it's a bit, it's that thing, it looks awesome having that stormtrooper on it, but it looks so abnormal compared to everything else we've seen, isn't it?
But you know what? I love it because they're finally starting to incorporate props into
Mm,
the poses into the actual base of the figure. That's something that I've been wanting for a while.
mm,
So, I mean, just imagine if let's say if Thor wasn't even holding his hammer, what if it was like on the floor? You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
somebody had like what if they released a Mace Windu figure with Boba's helmet. You know what I mean? After he cuts it off.
yeah.
So I mean that would be intense. But anyways.
It's like, yeah, you can see it. They're clearly
Oh, I said
showing.
Boba, Django. Sorry.
Yeah.
All the Star Wars fans are going to be, hey, hold on.
I mean, looking at this picture here, you can see here there's literally Star Wars: Rise of the Empire, and there's Zeb. They are these pre-rendered shots were very much about showing that they can go into all the other play sets.
Right.
And here they are inside of the Twilight one.
Yeah.
They're very much showing that these guys are in there. I think it's a good idea. And maybe if the leak, is that thing of maybe we don't know when these are going to be available. They haven't said. They've got Ezra versus Darth Vader on Hoth. He's
That's
gonna
so cool.
He's gonna freeze. He's gonna freeze to death there. I just think if you were raised on a sand planet, you'd be freezing on them. Okay, so there we have them on the Death Star. And I think it's a great. I love the crossover idea. I think that is where it really stands out as kind of this thing of allowing so much more play.
Yeah, definitely.
So much more value for money as well. Because you've got literally you buy a figure and you can go through 4 free play sets with them. Just think it just looks really cool.
Agreed.
Okay, anything else you want to add on the Rebels front?
All I know is that there's definitely going to be a lot of cool stuff displayed at E3 regarding them as well. So I will definitely keep my eyes out. My eyes open, and definitely be ready to report to you guys if I see anything new. But
also, I mean, on the Toy Box TV, they were sort of showing them in action on Toy Box TV. The normal show, they were showing them in action. They haven't been sort of shying away from showing off the characters too much. But no, I think it's just a great idea. I still think there's still there's this big question mark hanging over of when they're going to be out. Will there be a play set?
yeah.
It's kind of funny, but maybe they didn't. Like I said, it's a great announcement just before E3. Very much big surprise, but really lining up this big Star Wars presence for 3.0. I mean, we're way into probably going to be 20 plus Star Wars figures now. I mean, we're into we're up to what 14 already without some of the unannounced ones.
Yeah, I'm counting the space on my shelf right now. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
But no, so that looks pretty cool. Okay, so let's move on to our next subject. Okay, so first off, I just want to quickly just say a big shout out to our Patreons. Get rid of that. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, big shout out to our Patreons over at sorterapps.com and also magicbandcollectors.com, and also a shout out to the Infinity Museum. James, a big thank you for helping us out with them. Without your support, we can do extra things and just kind of get into it. So if you're not too sure about Patreon, check it out at patreon.com/DizKingdom.
Check out his collection, by the way. That thing's amazing.
Oh yeah, James has got an amazing Disney Infinity collection without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, so let's move on now to E3. This is where everything's going to start getting a little bit more interesting. So you're going to be heading to E3 this week. What are your plans for this week ahead? Because I know you've got a really busy week scheduled.
Yeah, my plans. My plans are to run around and hopefully capture as much information as I can. Last year was so easy because I went there and I literally just camped out at the Disney Infinity booth. The only other thing that was in there was what was it called, the Fantasia 360 game, which was like in the corner and like barely had any room. But the way they pitched the whole booth, it sounds like it's going to be huge this year, and it's obviously all Disney Infinity. But anyways, so last year I just stayed there, and then Skylanders was right next to it, so checked out the competition. Whatever. This year, going to be running around everywhere. Not to mention we have Star Wars Battlefront. I mean, we are definitely going to check out Lego Avengers. And then I definitely want to check out the competition, the new competition, Lego Dimensions, just to get some comparison. And then what Skylanders has to offer, what Amiibo has to offer, and obviously just going to basically spend most of my time at the Infinity booth. I do have a booth tour on Wednesday. We do have the whole meetup for all the fans on Tuesday. Hopefully I can make it to that because I do have previous engagements. And I do have hopefully a tentative scheduled one-on-one interview with JV for our podcast or in our webcast. But I still don't have the exact time frame, so I hope that all pans out. But other than that, that's E3. I mean, I still have something tomorrow too, which is technically not E3, but it's still more Infinity and Inside Out stuff. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, my plan is to get there, run around, and go crazy.
I plan camera in tow.
Yeah, this year I'll be simultaneously filming with 3 different cameras. One will be my SLR, the other one will be the GoPro, and then the third one will be on my actual iPhone. I plan to do some live tweets. So, so definitely, if you are not following me, follow me at Abe Junior 22 for the screen people who can't read the bottom. There you go.
Yes.
But yeah, at Abe Junior 22, ABEJR22, and I'm going to be live tweeting via Periscope. So if you don't have that app, please download it and enjoy. I'm going to try to do that as much as possible, but regardless, I'll put some pictures up on our Facebook via the iPhone or Twitter, and yeah, I'm just going to be doing tons of things for you guys. So
yes, and I'm going to be sat at home, basically just running around, just trying to get as much of information up on the websites as quickly as possible.
You're going to be on your PJs with an iced tea.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, with not iced tea, just tea, because you're in the UK, and you're just going to be relaxing, typing articles, so easy while I'm running back and forth.
So there we go. So you've also got that Inside Out event to
that's tomorrow night,
which is all kind of part of the sort of E3 kind of sort of week, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could put it together if per se. I mean, the only reason why it does tie in is because it so happens that Inside Out premieres the week of E3, so it makes sense. But they're doing something similar like they did with when 1.0 launched. When 1.0 launched, they had a preview day at El Capitan, and they had people playing the game there too. I'm assuming they will have the Inside Out playset available to play at El Capitan tomorrow before the screening and a little bit after. But I'm so happy that they open it up to fans. Same thing with E3. They open it up to some fans. So some people from our Facebook group will be there. So come say hi if you see me. But anyways, no, it's gonna be fun because I get to see Inside Out before it comes out on Friday, and nothing but positive reviews I've been hearing. I know Rob from CoinOps said the only negative, which really isn't a negative, is the fact that a 5-year-old might not be able to understand it because it's so deep. But hey, that's what we want. That's that's a Pixar film. It's for both the young and the old. So I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Inside Out. Fortunately, the UK are getting it a month later than the rest than the US, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, that event just sounds a fantastic thing. Plus, you get a little bit of extra time with Inside Out, which again, I think it will free up a little bit of space for some people for the actual main event at E3.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm planning to get like the hands-on time when I'm at El Capitan, and then do most of the B-roll and taking pictures and getting some footage of the figures while I'm at E3. But no, it's gonna be good. I'll give my personal review from the demo, obviously. So it'll be cool.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Okay, so that's E3. So it's going to be nice and busy. There's going to be lots and lots of things coming out. As you mentioned, we have Star Wars Battlefront, Lego Avengers, and also Disney Infinity 3.0. I think there might even be some Star Wars of the Old Republic on the PC stuff there as well. And there's probably going to be a few apps announced, I suspect. But mainly the whole point of E3 primarily has always been in the past was about getting retailers to the event to basically get them to place all their orders for the holiday season. That was what E3 was about. Kind of become a much bigger thing now with just a great way of sort of showing off all the big new games coming out of the year. But Disney Infinity 3.0 has been listed on quite a few different things as the game to watch. I think there's a lot more excitement over it this year. I think the Star Wars is really kind of getting people into it. But
Well,
yeah,
the fact that it's also the only game to have, aside from the DLC of the pre-battle of Battlefront, but Disney Infinity is supposed to be the only game to have anything to do with Episode 7. So like they have the privilege of being the only game with Episode 7 stuff.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see much from Episode 7 yet. I think it's still way too early. So this
D23.
is the thing, yeah, I think this is the thing with sort of the E3. I think for me, I think they've already kind of came out and they've done their pre-E3 events where they've shown off the Inside Out, the Rise of the Republic, and the Twilight of the Empire playsets, and they've shown off the figures, shown off a few power specs. Now, obviously, the last sort of 4 to 6 weeks, they have been chucking as much information at us as humanly possible. And I know with the E3 now is a lot of the companies like to get their information out before E3 so they don't get lost in the shuffle, because there's just going to be so much video game news next week or this week now. So all the stuff we've seen over the last few weeks are all going to be out on display. The fact that they've got demos set up in Walt Disney World and at events shows that these playset demos are ready to roll and thoroughly tested out before E3, which is kind of quite different as well from previous events. But no, I think we might get a few surprises. I think we might find that there might be a few maybe characters. I don't know if there's characters. I'm expecting maybe some Power Disc packs to be announced at the event.
Well, JV did say to keep an eye out for that whole that wall of figures that they had at the pre-E3 event, that there's going to be some surprise figures on there. So I am assuming that we're going to get to see Ultron and Hulkbuster like in their figure form for the first time. But I still have a feeling, because the way he hinted it, I have a feeling we might see something else. So they're probably not going to announce it, but they're just going to let it just sit there just to see if anybody catches it for all the fans. So
yeah.
That's honestly one of the things that I'm looking forward to seeing. That wall looked phenomenal, so hopefully I can get some good pictures of it. But we'll see.
So do you think they'll see any Power Discs announced at the event?
I think so. I mean, they did this. They did that with E3 last year, I believe, with the Marvel side, and just the few. Honestly, the rest of them leaked because they accidentally gave out the Power Disc packs, But then we saw at Comic-Con, they released the Disney side. So it's a no-brainer. They're going to release more. Plus, they're going to want to have some more discs to demo anyways. So I have a feeling there'll be more.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there might be like an Inside Out pack this year.
I think so. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, we might have maybe a Bing Bong team-up disc. Who knows? You never know.
Just that's where it kind of, and maybe they might even announce a Rebels Power Disc pack, or just a random Disney pack, because that's kind of it just makes sense that those things are something they could announce quite easily. I mean, it wouldn't gain too much attention, but they're not really going to gain too much attention outside of the main press for them anyway.
One thing that I'm really excited to see is finally take a look at what these game pieces are going to look for the Toy Box expansion game discs, because I don't know if you saw that post I put on Twitter. Yes. Like those weird dome-looking things. I wonder if those could be it, but I mean, I don't know. I just want to see what they look like finally.
Because you could only just about make it. They kind of look like just like a almost little circle, but
it's a little dome. Yeah, it's a little dome.
Yeah. But they're crystal, so they look like a plate. Yeah. They look like a playset piece, so which is probably the main thing there. But now I think in general, I think E3 is. I think it's going to be a lot more of what we've already seen, but everyone getting hands on. I think there's going to be a few little. I just with Disney Infinity 3.0, there's so much on the table. I can't see how they're going to announce too much. I don't expect anything Marvel. I'm not expecting any Marvel announcement this week. I think they're going to hold off on that. Because it's still got San Diego Comic-Con. The only big thing I'm hoping for, release date for the starter pack. That has to be coming soon. And also maybe even some pre-orders for the figures and stuff that can start going up on retailers.
Collector's edition. Everybody keep your eye out tomorrow on the PlayStation press conference, just in case they might show something again. Who knows?
Yes, the PlayStation. I mean, I'm personally interested in the PlayStation conference because I've got a PlayStation, and so yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
watching for that. There was a listing on Amazon's Germany site again for a collector's edition, but it didn't have any information, so it was very, very vague. I think there wasn't really any information. There was not really anything with it. I mean, even the price of €100 didn't look right. So I'm still kind of in the zone of, we know there is going to be something coming, I'm sure of it, but yeah, we don't know any information yet really about this collector's edition. And I think there's going to be one. I can't see they're going to leave more money on the table.
I agree. I mean, come on. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with that one. You've also, I mean, at E3, like I said, you're gonna have Skylanders Superchargers going to be at the event. They're going to be showing off this stuff. Nintendo have their new Nintendo Direct, so there'll be more amiibo functionality built into that. So this is, again, it affects Disney Infinity in terms for us to watch the competition, because the competition is what's going to make Infinity stronger, but also, you know, it's the thing that there is competition in this thing. Lego Dimensions seems to be the big wild card this year. There hasn't been a lot of stuff about them being even at E3. There doesn't seem to be a lot. I know, yeah, but they've not been quite as sort of vocal about being at E3. Disney Infinity have really been very strong in the fact of putting out that word that they're there, and they've got booths and shows, and they're being a lot more loud about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Lego might have something in under their. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, under their sleeve. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
I think the big thing with the Lego one is really, I think people just want to get their hands on the game, see what it looks like.
I don't know. I'm skeptical. I think the game's going to be just like any game, any Lego game. I mean, so.
No, that's the thing. All right. Okay. So I think that's really going to wrap up our E3 predictions, because it's going to be one of those things that we just don't know what's going to be going on with that one. So, yeah. So Abe's going to be very busy this week. So am I, which is all good.
I'm already exhausted and I haven't gone there yet. Yep.
Okay. So on to our next subject for today. Okay, so our next subject for today is going to be the Toy Box Villains Takeover Toy Box expansion pack, which they have announced on a number of the different retailers is going to be let's bring it up. There we go. Here's the actual box art for the Toy Box Takeover, which features Darth Vader, Venom, and Syndrome. On the front there, you can see some of the characters from Star Wars. Interesting, you've also got 1.0 characters from Disney side. You've also got the Marvel characters, and EB Games in Canada, and also GameStop in the US and Target are all offering this as a pre-order bonus, and it's priced at $19.99. So what was your first thoughts on this, Abe?
I was like, hey, this is good. I mean, for the value, I mean, I'm definitely getting something more expensive than a figure, so that's cool. Then afterwards, I was like, I wonder if this is just the villains one, or I wonder if they're going to just limit it to that alone because they anticipate Speedway being popular enough on its own. So
there's no mention of Speedway in any of on the websites.
Yeah, so I think this is a smart move on Disney's part, because on Disney's part and on the retailer's part, obviously, because this specific expansion game kind of promotes you playing with all the figures in existence all together in one game, and it kind of like leaves the first-time buyer who is getting a pre-order bonus an incentive to liking the past figures as well. So I like the idea. I definitely like it value-wise, and obviously for the crossover play, so you can play with everybody. So
it's almost that thing is like, this is what we've said before. It kind of stands out as a standalone like video game almost.
Yeah.
The way it's packaged. I don't know how big that box is going to be. I don't think it's going to be very big. Because of retail space is pretty limited. I just love the fact that the box is very much like there's Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel. This is the way it's going. This is the way that Disney are using Disney Infinity. You've got the 1.0, the 2.0, and the 3.0, all in the top there. you've really got that mix. But this is the thing: if they're going to keep wanting to push those characters being available for 3.0, so you can still go out and buy Elsa, and you can go and buy Spider-Man, and it will work in the game. Which is, they're still acknowledging the fact they've still got all these characters, not just because you've got them already, but because they're still on the shelf.
Right.
But no, I just think it's interesting to see them doing it as the sort of the free offer. There always seems to be some sort of preemptive kind of thing to get people in. I'm happy with it. If it's a free figure or something like this, it's something you're getting as a bonus of being a pre-order one. I think it's great. I think it's also great to see them kind of stepping away from the figure thing, because I think the free figure is a good offer, but this is content. This is structured play that they're offering that you can use straight out the box, and also quite interesting that if you just, I don't know necessarily yet in the US because you haven't got that software disc, but if they do that over here in the UK, I'm assuming it will probably follow suit. You've got that, and maybe you can pick up all the Disney stuff. So if you're not into Star Wars, it allows a little bit more freedom. But I'm just going to read out a little bit from what it says on the eBay, the EB Games on the Canada one. Get my words out this morning. Toy Box expansion games unlock additional hours of gameplay inside Toy Box 3.0. Place your Toy Box expansion game piece on the Infinity basis, jump straight into an all new, fully featured game. And it's save the Toy Box from falling into chaos. When Syndrome gets his hands on Merlin's magic wand, it's up to you to stop him, join forces with your friends, and use your favorite characters in Disney Infinity to battle across multiple worlds and defeat bad guys before they ruin the Toy Box forever. In Disney Infinity, you can mash up Disney, Marvel, Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, and you can play 2-player local co-op or 4-player online. It does say here that Toy Box Disney Infinity Cars figures are not compatible with the Toy Box Takeover.
And that makes sense because you have, ladders and you have weapons that you need to use and everything like that. So the cars figures can't hold anything or climb ladders. So it makes sense. But at least they're available on Speedway, which is what I'm happy for. So
yeah, that's where those guys are really going to come into their own, is into that game. No, I just think in general, I think any kind of pre-order bonus is always a good thing for people to get into it early on, especially when later down the line, when people are waiting for all those sort of Black Friday deals and New Year's deals. If you are spending up that money at the beginning, you are getting something of a little bit of extra value back. It does sort of bring down the costs. I'm happy with that. I'd be quite happily take that. I almost in some ways prefer that over the figure deal, because
well, sort of. Because technically, I think their previous pre-orders were figure and Power Disc pack. So technically, it's sort of the same value, but I think it's better for the retailer because it's less SKUs that they're giving away for free. So it looks good on their cross-sell ratio, because if they have more items that they're charging for, it's going to look good in their numbers. But it's the same value.
Yeah, I think this is. There was a slight difference, I think, with like the US and the the rest of the world with their pre-order. Literally, most pre-orders over and out of the US were literally just a figure. You didn't get all the free. You never got the power. You never got the discs. And in general, the deals have always been a lot better with the US ones.
Sorry, guys.
even those, like last year, if you brought the digital one, you got those 2 Toy Box game discs. Europe, the rest of the world didn't get it. It was only US. So sometimes these offers are very much, there's a lot more offers generally for the American audience than for the rest of the world. But no, I think this is cool. I know some people are like, well, last year we got these included for free. Well, I think they're bigger games this year, but also I think Disney are doing something very different. They want to be the cheapest toy. They want to have the cheapest starter pack on the shelf. They want to have the cheapest way of getting in through digital, and this is a way of doing that.
No, yeah, I agree. It's definitely a great choice. Yeah. So.
No, that's cool. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more hands-on play this week of that as well, because we haven't seen too much game footage of this yet.
Nope, but you will.
You will. Okay, I think that's pretty much going to wrap up the Toy Box bonus. Okay, on to our next subject, which is going to be... Okay, so up next we are going to be discussing the San Diego Comic-Con pop-up shop. that they are going to be having there. On StarWars.com, they've basically announced there's going to be Disney Infinity are going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, which is great news for people going to the event. Let's just load that one up.
Which means I'm going to San Diego.
Wasn't too sure if it was. Let's try to bring the page up.
I mean, last year they had a section inside the convention, and then they had a pop-up shop on the outside for those who didn't have tickets to the convention. It was smart. It was obviously just a great way to get exposure on both the convention attendees and the pop-up shop, but it gave the attendees an incentive, because if you pre-ordered it inside the convention, you got a free Groot figure and the Groot concept art poster. But if you pre-ordered on the pop-up shop, it was a Rocket Raccoon figure and a Rocket Raccoon concept art. So I mean, it's cool. Hopefully they do something similar this year. But either way, the pop-up shop is always cool.
So it says here they're going to be Star Wars joins up with. I think they're going to be using Star Wars a lot more. I mean, you're invited at the Disney Infinity pop-up shop located at the heart of the Gas Lamp District. Now, is that inside or outside?
Outside.
That's outside, is it? Okay.
The pop-up shop is always outside of the convention.
Yeah, and fans also have a chance to step into the Disney Infinity, only into the toy box, mediated experience.
Everybody's going to be, whoa, because they're medicated.
Yes, where guests can virtually enter the toy box and interact alongside their favorite Disney Infinity, such as engaging with lightsaber duels with Darth Vader and Yoda, take home a customized photo and video of their chosen character. So I'm thinking that's a bit like that celebration thing with you in the Star Wars X-Wing.
What I was going to say, this is exactly what they're doing at E3 this year. You're going to have a video and picture op where you get immersed. So this definitely looks like they're going to recycle that and put it into San Diego. And
also, they'll be doing a live edition of Toy Box TV on Twitch, featuring new announcements, surprise guests, contests, and exclusive giveaways. So no, I think that's cool. I think that makes sense. At least we know they're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. There's going to be a pop-up shop. Hopefully by then, we'll be another month down. So I think generally sort of E3, sort of San Diego Comic-Con and D23 are all on the big run to launch this year. Those are those big events to kind of get people on board with. But no, I think the pop-up shop, it worked really well last year because also it's outside the event. So even if you haven't got a ticket, you can still get in and sort of have a look. And just in general, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, in general, San Diego Comic-Con is always like every year. It's so huge. It gets bigger every year that you can spend a whole day doing things outside of the convention because they not only have stuff, like I said, inside the convention, but you have the Petco Park, which is where the San Diego Padres play. So you have this whole stadium and the whole parking lot area all just catered to just San Diego Comic-Con. Then you have companies like Disney who take up shop into an empty building and they set up their pop-ups, or they go to a hotel lobby. I mean, you have it's a huge event. So
yeah,
I'm excited. It's gonna be cool.
But that's the thing as well with all these like pop-up stuff is, when they're creating all this stuff for E3, they're not just creating it for E3. They can then take it to the other events afterwards. So that's kind of always a cool little option.
Yep.
That sounds good. That looks really exciting. That looks good. Okay. Right.
They're probably going to display the collector's edition there. That's what they did last year.
The only thing that's getting me with this is I think it really depends on that launch date. If the launch date of mid-August is correct, that some of the retailers are putting up, still not official yet, you're going to be into pure get that thing pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Because if they're a month ahead of last year, that's why it maybe feels like we're a few months where everything feels a lot more tighter in terms of what they're allowing people to do. But also on the same date that they launched last year, Lego Dimensions and Skylanders Superchargers will be announced, or are coming out that same week that they did last year, mid-September.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of competition. Okay, so let's now move on to the Toy Box TV Live recap. Okay, so once again, Disney put on a Toy Box TV Live with JV. They also had Allison and custom artist Evlos was on the event. We were both watching that live. What were your first reactions of this show?
It felt a lot shorter, but definitely cool. I love that they just got into playing the. Well, obviously, Evolos came on and talked about his customs, but they got right into playing with the rebels in the game, showing them off, and it was cool. I mean, it seemed pretty casual, like they were just having fun, having a good time. I did again. I want to bring that up again. The little dome discs that were on the side. Apparently, I found out from Evolos outside that they were planning to bring those up, but I guess they ran out of time.
Yeah.
So, but regardless of the fact, we still got the Star Wars Rebels reveal. They got to play them. Not to mention, we learned that JV was talking to producers of other Disney films, which is why I said I smell Zootopia in the future, which makes sense. And the biggest thing that stood out was the several amounts of quotes that JV was throwing about how it seems like these aren't the only Rebels figures we're going to be getting this year. I mean, again, I'm just going off of speculation, but
I'm gonna have to
man,
go.
those quotes were very.
I'm gonna have to go in there and fix that page.
Why? What's wrong with the page?
It's all over the place.
Something wrong with your page?
Don't know. I'm gonna have to have a look at that. I'm just going. Huh?
Oh wow. Yeah, no, that was not how it was. Trust me. That's weird.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's
Anyways.
Lots of stuff was brought up on the show. So obviously, so everyone gets a clear view, there were these pictures here are customs. These were customs created by Everlos. You got Anti-Venom, Mr. Incredibles in his glory suit, and Red Hulk. Everlos does a lot of customs work. He's been involved in customs for a long time. I think 20 years he said he's been doing sort of work. I've known him probably as the last 5 years doing Vinimations. He used to do that, but he kind of moved on to the Toys to Life category and been really, really successful, and just sort of they've been very, very popular. Even was at the point where Toys R Us were talking to him about bringing these to their stores, a special custom limited edition, but Marvel nixed it, and Disney, basically, I think the legal department didn't like this idea at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. I think as a large company, they couldn't really. It was just they needed probably it was just too much for them to do. But it's a shame. But if you want to get hold of them, you can get hold of Everlos through all the social media and like everlos.com, etc. But now he was there and talking about that, so that was a really cool thing, especially from as I've known him for a few years with Animation. So it's kind of quite cool seeing him on this.
No, yeah. It's definitely cool to see, just one of our many community members who like to customize these figures. I know we used to have a really active member named Paul Dart. He used to do a lot of customs for Infinity 1.0. But I mean that just shows you these things are so cool that you can have many variants and customs get inspired by them. So
yeah, okay. So I'm gonna let you just run through your list for that you wrote out for this show, because it's one of those great things that I can just sit back and watch that show.
Yeah, I will do that right now. And in fact, the way it looks on my page looks a lot cleaner than yours. I don't know what's going on with your page, but anyways. Anyways, I'll take a look at it afterwards myself. So let's go through the recap real fast. Let's see. So like I said, JV met with, Allison always asks what JV did during the week, and he not only met with studio producers for future Disney Infinity, but he also got to see the premiere of Inside Out, so he took selfies with Amy Poehler and Louis Black. Apparently Tony Hawk's kid plays Disney Infinity, which is something cool to know. And then basically Scott's one of the PR guys. He came on and talked about the E3 preparations. There's a lot of cool stuff coming, so I can't wait to report all that. But anyways, you guys can read all that information later. So let's see. Evolos came on, did his talked about his customs. Then let's see. Let's move on. I just want to pinpoint him.
Yeah.
let's see. So that's when Ryan and Jason came on, and they started playing the Rebels figures inside the playsets. So
Mhm.
that's kind of cool. They like we said before, it's cool that you actually can play these Rebel figures inside the playsets. Something that was kind of said that was interesting was that these figures can play in the toy box and in these playsets, but they never really said the words toy box only.
No.
I don't know if it has anything to do because they can play in these playsets or because, like we said, there might possibly be a playset coming, so who knows. Um, we did joke around about how Ezra looks like Aladdin in Star Wars, which is
Mhm.
true. It totally looks like it. Then they had a special guest. John Blackburn was there, and he came out to talk about certain things with the Rebels figures. His favorite is Kanan, obviously. Apparently, Kanan was one of the most powerful figures before they did some tweaking, but it's because he has the awesome saber abilities, and he also has his blaster separately, as opposed to how Ezra has it built into his saber. Um, Sabine was the most complicated build and paint profile of all the figures because of all the different colors and the pieces to the figure.
Mm.
They also mentioned JB mentioned that they were thinking about possibly charging more for it, but they said no, we're not going to do that to our fans, which is awesome. Um, let's see, Zeb was also a very tough design because of his feet, and they had to keep him balanced. They didn't want to make sure that the plastic would droop over. So he is a big guy. They had to make sure he fit in the packaging. Then we had Tyler show up, and he basically did some hand modeling and showed off the figures, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
They
I
did
was just
bring
gonna,
up the.
oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
while we're still on the Star Wars Rebels bit, I just wanted to share some thoughts that had come through from Facebook, Infinity and Beyond. Some of the people over there, I asked them for their reactions to it. Um, James Infinity Museum, he loved the idea of Ezra's blaster and saber combos. Having a ranged and melee weapon in one will be very, very handy. Joshua put down, I think they look great, and it's going to be nice to have these quality figures because the Hasbro figures so far have had lots of problems. And again, asking for Hera.
Okay.
Yeah, again, Jolie said the same thing about Hera not being in there, being just set the Rebels Han Solo. And
So there you go. It was Julie.
yeah, and yeah. Oh yeah, David Pett. I was almost going to get Lego Dimensions definitely over Skylanders with the adding vehicles, blah. But now they have Rebels. I can no longer ignore this, and I know where my money is going. My wife is going to hate me.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's I think that generally there's been there was a good strong reaction to the Rebels announcement, but also I think being able to see this footage of them on the day they announced it was great because it really kind of you could see them and running around all in this playset and made a lot of sense.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Pazio, we can carry on.
All right. So parry, the actual move parry, where you kind of like block the enemies, it's gonna be great because now not only is it going to allow you to block attacks, but it's also gonna allow you having awesome battles with your friends when you're doing multiplayer in the toy box. Other news: Jeff Bunker is currently in China, so he's probably inspecting the figures, or maybe some we don't know about. Who knows? Evelos then finally showed his JV custom, which is kind of cool. It's a spin on Syndrome as JV, which is kind of cool. And then they shared this really cool fan mail that they received back in 2013 when the game first came out from this kid, and he basically called Disney Infinity 3.0. Like he basically said a lot of things that were great. And JV showed his new blanket that James sent from the Infinity Museum, which is awesome. And I believe you can get those online if you really want one. And then they also revealed, which is cool because of the kid sending that that letter, they revealed a fan mail address that you can actually write them fan mail or send them thank yous, and they will obviously go through it, which is kind of cool.
It's just I've seen it quite a few things on a few different TV shows recently about they're all like, well, you can still write into us, we don't have to do everything through social. It's like I did the only thing I did figure that was it's all very good, but don't mention anything in the future because otherwise you won't get featured for about 2 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, don't mention anything in the future because yeah, this kid had to wait 2 years before he finally saw anything.
Now, one thing that kind of like left me a little worried, only because it's something I wanted to see a long time ago. I don't remember which, if it was a Game Informer thing or another interview that the other fan sites did. But I remember JV saying something about Han Solo having this, or maybe it was Jeff Bunker, saying that there was a finishing move
Yes.
where Han Solo, his special move basically freezes somebody in carbonite really fast. JV did mention something about how there was a scene where Han would get frozen to carbonite, and apparently Lucas had them take it off. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it has to do with his move or if it's actual gameplay in the playset. But I guess we won't know until either E3 or when the game comes out. So we'll see.
It's kind of one of those interesting things. I think in general, I think that like the Toy Box TV Live, it's a nice informal show to kind of be interacting with it. It's great as well if you're in there. I know a lot of us are in there. You know, you had us. You also had Rob from Coin Up TV. You had, I think, Pirate Steven. Everloss is normally in there. You've also, I think, Brandon from Game Vit Trailers is in there. There's quite a few, some Jason from Infinity Inquirer will be in there. There's quite a few different people in there, usually all chatting and stuff. So it's a kind of good atmosphere. And also, you know, you find that stuff, and they kind of, you know, they don't always keep to the scripts. And we get, but I've loved the fact they've been showing us this gameplay footage from playsets, and kind of it, you know, they did away with sort of a lot of the Toy Box TV stuff that they were, I think they planned to do. I think in general people weren't responding because everyone just wants to know what's new.
Right.
I think once 3.0 is out, show off the toy boxes. I think that will be fine. But I think in general, I think that's been a lot smarter. Right. But yeah, I think anything else you want to add from the Toy Box TV side of things?
Yeah, there was a couple more things. They did also bring up the fact that, like we said earlier, that there are some playset and there's also some Toy Box exclusive moves. So obviously, you know, one like Zeb, he'll have a wall crawl in the Toy Box in here. But I did want to bring up those quotes that we were talking about. How it kind of made it seem like we might get more Rebels in the future. There was, you know, the small quotes, which were like, you know, these 4 characters as our launch characters for Star Wars Rebels. Another one was, I really like the Inquisitor when he was asking John Blackburn regarding his favorite character. Then he was reading something about General Grievous and the Emperor Palpatine being able to do like little battles, and he said all of which, by the way, can be done right now in the toy box. So it kind of made us think like, oh, could there be a Palpatine or a Grievous coming? Who knows?
Well, we've already seen sort of a screenshot of
Grievous,
Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting Grievous. So to me, that, you know, I think there's less, you know, if he's going to be a boss battle, so it could be like Loki where they bring them out later, or is it going to be like MODOK where you don't actually get to they don't release them? I think he'll be out. He's too much of a popular character not to do it. But yeah, it was very much kind of like, we, you know, you'll be able to fight as Emperor versus Grievous in the toy box. It's like, hey.
Oh, really? Exactly. All right. And then one of the lines that he kept saying over and over again, which was a little. This is the one that I copy quote word for word. He says, "A little gameplay of our first 4 Star Wars Rebels figures announced so far." So it's like, dude, you keep saying that. But the last quote that I wanted to touch on, I'm gonna quote this word for word because I literally listened to it to make sure. But this is the one that makes me believe more that we got more coming. He said, "We've announced 4 Star Wars Rebels figures so far, and as we like to do at Disney Infinity, we're always looking at adding more characters. So if you are big fans of the characters like Hera or the Inquisitor or Chopper, there's certainly a chance that you will be seeing those characters soon. But that's all we have to announce: these 4 characters." So I mean, the way he said it, like you'll be able to certainly see it soon, or, you know, I don't know. He's like hinting, so I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. It wasn't a shoot down, not mention it. We don't, you know, because that's what usually happens. But I think in general, this is the big thing with this. I found this year, some of the wording. I mean, Disney had been very, well, I'd say this is something they did a lot last year. They kept leaving the door wide open. Oh, we've got more figures and playsets to announce later.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. And
Exactly.
so I'm still slightly skeptical when they say about
Gotcha.
more playsets to be announced. Like, well, they've said 5. They've come out and said there's not 8 that was Best Buy, but it's this kind of thing of, well, I don't know. It's really hard. I mean, could they add? But at the same time, I think if they do add a Rebels playset, then you've got 4 Star Wars playsets, 1 Marvel, and 1 Disney. That's the ratio is all over the shop. But yeah, I don't know. And also, because I mean, I think I'm going to lead into this from other news that came out this week, because we've seen trailers for Zootopia and Pixar's Good Dinosaur this week.
Yeah.
And they've been talking a lot about how Disney Infinity is a movie tie-in video game.
Right.
And you've got Zootopia and Good Dinosaur coming out in this game in this sort of year. I'm going to be flat out say I think they are maybe wave 2 and 3 or wave 2 of the Disney side. I'm just putting that out there right now. Whether or not it's toy box only, like Anna and Elsa and Big Hero 6 characters, or power discs or something, I can't believe there won't be anything for it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that we'll definitely see some power discs. If not, we'll see some power discs. If not, figures. But again, I don't know. That's a slight chance for that one. But still, it's gonna be awesome.
First off, Zootopia is a Walt Disney Animation Studio ones, which falls in line to me with Big Hero 6 and Frozen.
Right.
That they've dropped the trailer. We don't really know too much about that movie at the minute, so I can see why Disney wouldn't want to come straight out and announce it, because like this happened last year with Big Hero 6 characters. They announced them in part of the launch lineup, and he's typing away there.
No, I'm fixing the actual.
All I give you is click, click, click. It's one of those things of last year with Big Hero 6 they announced it. Of course, people really were a bit like with the Inside Out characters this year, where it's like, well, I don't know who these are, so it would make sense. And also, it feels like the information for Good Dinosaur and Zootopia isn't really out there yet. And they're not really announcing they haven't really announced much toys. They haven't really announced anything about these. So it makes sense to hold back.
No, yeah, I agree. It definitely makes sense for them not to actually talk a lot about it. But it's nice for them to actually say, hey, you guys, we're going to go ahead and let's show this to everybody so they know what we're talking about. As far as, Disco, maybe we'll know more closer to launch of the game.
Yeah.
But as far as whether they'll be part of Infinity, I don't see why not. I mean, like I said, if they're not figures, they're definitely going to be power discs, because I mean, we're so close to it, and not to mention it's the same thing that happened with Frozen, same thing that happened with Big Hero 6. I mean, it wouldn't make sense if they didn't include it. So,
but also, I'm just looking at the idea that they have said that there's more Disney stuff to come.
Absolutely. They've said it several times, which again makes our ears perk up to see if that's happening.
Not just those 11 figures or the 9 figures they've announced so far for Disney Infinity 3.0, which include obviously the 5 Inside Out characters. You have Cora and Sam from Tron, Mickey and Minnie, and then you've also got Olaf and Mulan. So it's going to be interesting. I think while they've been very open about lots of stuff, they've still got lots of surprises left for them. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was like a nice D23 kind of, that would fit in a lot better at that of place than San Diego Comic-Con or E3.
No, yeah, I agree. It definitely fits, especially if they were to announce more Disney side. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to do it at D23. So yeah, no, they got to be part of it. They just have.
Well, I mean, judging by those 2 trailers, I mean, you've obviously got the Fox and the Bunny from Zootopia are 2 standout characters they're pushing straight off the bat. So
right.
Those
they are the main characters. So
yeah, and then you've also Good Dinosaur. You have the green dinosaur, and you have the little lad. So now I know they've said about not doing 4 thing, but I don't know. Things could change. It's just my gut reaction at the minute is you've got 2 big movies coming out. I can't believe they would miss, because they know about them 4 or 5 years in advance. It's not like they don't know about them. It's not like the live action ones where it's all kind of a lot more last minute. don't know. My gut feeling is that we could see something on it.
Well, I mean, something that did stand out, and while you're saying this, something that stood out to me in John Blackburn's interview with Game Informer is he did say that they're a lot closer to their main goal, which was to have content release when a movie releases.
Yeah.
So it just only makes you believe, and then not to mention JV saying at Twitch that he met with producers of future Infinity. So it's like it just makes you believe that hey, this is going to be a common occurrence. Next Disney movie that comes out, you're going to have some new content with Disney Infinity. So who knows? Maybe they might be there already with Good Dinosaur and Zootopia. So
I mean, they've been very, very, especially in the Game Informer stuff, they were very much about Disney Infinity is a movie tie-in or a tie-in video game. This is about them not doing the sort of the traditional rushed or bad video games for the movies. And the idea is this is a licensed game. This is what this is what Infinity is about. And I know a lot of people go on about sort of the classic stuff, the classic Disney stuff that they want to see. But I don't think that's ever really been the target for them. They've always been focused on what's coming out, what's out now. You look at 2.0, Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, those, and the Spider-Man cartoon. That is what's out right now. The Maleficent figure, Big Hero 6, those are all they throw in a few classics here and there, but they are focused purely on the new content coming through, not and getting as much merchandise out for that. Then the idea of them making a Robin Hood or a Beauty and the Beast play sets at the minute, they're not really looking in that direction. I don't think. Maybe later down the line when they've used up, but they've got so many new movies coming out, they don't need to.
Yeah,
but
definitely as toy box figures at least.
Yeah, I think that's you've always got a chance of that. But now I think in general, to me, Good Dinosaur and Zootopia are ones to, if there was anything going to be coming out as extra waves, that is where I feel we could get them. And also they've been a bit smarter with the Disney stuff this year, where they've put those characters on the back of them of those packets, but they can always make more packets later on with new lineup. And if they are going to be later, maybe they're right. Okay, these aren't going to be available bang on launch. And also, they can slap on that. You must have an internet connection on the box, and that fixes the problem.
Yeah.
Because I think the Lego are doing that now. They literally just put on there, you must have an internet connection to buy these.
No, it makes sense. I mean, everybody's so connected nowadays. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of it, and they've talked about it in the past about wanting to have more updates more regularly than this yearly thing. They're not quite at that point that they can do that fully yet, but no, I think this is certainly going to be interesting coming up. And E3, I think this is going to be just very, very interesting to see what comes out. It's the start to me of the big push for the summer to get just hoping for a release date. It's just that's the big thing I think everyone's just waiting for, is when they can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to this week's show before we kind of wrap it up for this week?
For the show in general, or the Twitch cast? The show in general. Just stay tuned, guys. Again, I'll be live tweeting as much as I can, updating our Facebook. Definitely be taking pictures galore, video galore. So stay tuned for lots of updates. Be patient with me too, as trying to get the info up online as fast as possible. But hey, I'll do it the best I can. So
yes, that's cool. So yeah, big shout out again to our Patreons, the Sorter app, and also our magicbandcollectors.com, and also to Infinity Museum for being a Patreon. But yeah, you can check us out on all of our social medias, Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, Facebook group. We've also got Twitter, and then you can see him nicely showing off his nice sort of box there. There we go, with all the different items on it. But yeah, follow Abe. We'll be doing as much coverage as we humanly can. You can see him there all nicely trying to stretch out, ready to go.
I'm so exhausted. I'm ready. All the madness starts tomorrow. But yeah.
And they've already sort of. I mean, E3 is just they've already started out the announcements and things.
Yeah.
Gonna be an interesting week, and we'll be trying to keep you updated with videos and stuff throughout the week. Yeah, that's the plan, to try and get as much out as possible. We're trying to give as much coverage as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much going to wrap up this week's show. So big thank you to A for joining me again this week.
No problemo.
And we shall see you guys later.
Adios. Oh, man.
Laters.
It's going to be exhausting. Get ready for it. Roller coaster ride. Hands up, everybody.
Woo!